Hi there, my name is Barbara McVeigh. I am a mother, I live in California, and I am the daughter of a federal criminal. In 1981, President Ronald Reagan told my father in a nationally televised speech he had 48 hours to get back to work or get out. That was my father and about 13,000 other union members across the country. Federal air traffic controllers who were willing to take a stand for honesty and justice and risk everything when they striked against the government, a federal crime. Some were put into prison, some were heavily fined, many lost everything. You see, Ronald Reagan had been elected in a landslide election the year before. Everybody loved Reagan. He was the good guy, the president who would put our country back together again. People were tired of energy issues in the 1970s when they experienced long lines at gas stations and had concerns about jobs. My grandfather loved Reagan, my neighborhood, my teachers, my entire country. So if Ronald Reagan was the good guy, that would make my dad the bad guy. I was 13 years old, and this is what I saw. My history teacher loved Reagan and was worried about the way my parents were raising me. So he brought me to his house to teach me good work ethics, how to be his house cleaner. That was until my mother came by and said, "No way." I remember the standoff between my mother and my history teacher on the green lawn in front of my history teacher's house. That's when I decided that my mother must be dumb, because you see, if my history teacher is looking out for me, my mother is not. I came from a bad family, and hard years followed as my parents struggled emotionally and financially, losing almost everything. I lost my dream to be an oceanographer and study in Santa Barbara. I also lost my guitar lessons. I loved my guitar lessons. I became an angry, rebellious teenager. After all, I came from a bad family. Years later, I put myself through college with a new dream, to become a writer about our beautiful world. I worked my way through school with holes in my shoes and earned a degree in English. I graduated without a penny of debt. That's how determined I was. I would not be uneducated and have bad work ethics like my parents. No, I would never be anything like them. I would live a good life. For over 30 years, I hated my parents. They embarrassed me. I didn't even let my father walk me down the aisle when I got married. Then, about 3 years ago, I had, let's call it an awakening, after listening to a Brazilian guitarist. And I discovered something very powerful. The universe loves to laugh, and it was having a great one on me, because you see, my friends, I learned a dirty secret. What Ronald Reagan did to my father has led us all to the dark path we're on right now. Yep, my father is not a federal criminal. My father is my hero. My hero. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter gave a phenomenal speech. It was called Crisis of Confidence, or the Malay speech, by his critics. His critics who happened to be OPEC. You see, Carter had a vision beyond what we could comprehend at that time. He saw our country being independent of energy. He had put solar panels on the White House. He had 17,000 wind turbines in the state of California under Governor Brown at the time. He reminded us not to judge people for what they had or how much they have, but maybe how much they do for others. We were on our way to leading the way towards sustainable energy. We were on our way to greatness. Carter said it was the moral equivalent of war for our leaders to lead the way toward energy independence. Well, big oil business did not like that idea. They smashed Carter, calling his campaign meow. They fed into our fears, into our short-term desires, manipulated facts, and supported Reagan, who was elected in a landslide election. And what did Reagan do? He took the solar panels off the White House and turned the dial up on fossil fuels. The Union bust of 1981 has helped lead the way to today's business domination that we are experiencing. Unions provide the checks and balances of business, and we are being overrun by big business. But that's not all. The biggest cost is to our children. Our oceans are acidifying. And why? Because of those fossil fuels Reagan pushed back into our economy in 1981. Most of our oxygen comes from the ocean, not just from trees. So I'm not talking about a bad day on the beach. I'm talking about the threat of life on our entire planet. My dad and those working-class union workers of 1981 taught me something that no university could do and no money could buy. That is what it takes to have the guts to stand for honesty and justice, even in the face of losing everything. Because in the end, the truth shines brighter than gold. It's not what you lose that matters, it's what you gain. Ronald Reagan should be considered a federal criminal. Ronald Reagan should be considered a global criminal. And the way I see it, his legacy and anyone standing for the Republican Party today should be tried in an international court for war crimes against humanity. That's right. Citizens of the United States have been manipulated and lied to for over 35 years, and it's time to come clean. The Ronald Reagan Library and Museum in Simi Valley, California, should be a location to serve as a reminder of the political and business propaganda and domination we have experienced as a nation, so we can heal as a nation and look at who we have been and why. There has never been a time in humanity that we know of to rise to our highest good, and the stakes are higher now than they were in 1981 as we face global climate change, melting polar ice caps, and acidification of oceans. It's our children's world, and we must show our children that we're the good guys. Let's not create angry children. Be on their team. So there's this idea. Be a rebel. Because in our country today, being a rebel means to be kind, generous, and serve one another instead of our own individual self-interest and those of big businesses. Dream big. We have got to come together to make right of the wrongs, and we can do it. And we will show the world what it means to be a great nation. Be a rebel. We need our rebels. These are our heroes. I'm Barbara McVeigh, and for over 30 years I hated my parents. No. I have the greatest parents alive. I love you, Mom and Dad. I love you. And if I'm lucky, I've got another 30 years of my life, and I have nothing better to do than to set the historical record straight and redeem my mom and dad and those union members of 1981 who demonstrated how to stand collectively for honesty and justice as we turn this world around. Maybe that history teacher did teach me something. How to clean house. I'm not an actor. I'm the real deal. And Mr. Gorbachev and Mr. Putin, I would love to meet you. I believe we have a few things in common. Berlin, you name the date and time, and I'll be there. Thank you.